Hey, my name is Amaka Izuchi, and I am auditioning as myself for How We Walk. I am a millennial. I am a Nigerian American actress and directress and a producer now. Um, I am a vocalist, and I am passionate about social justice and not necessarily about politics. I feel very, very deeply that this is a pivotal time in history in not just the US, in the world, because of the way everything is so global, because of the internet, of course. I, as the child of a second generation, as the child of immigrants, um, feel that right now is I'm so excited, but also very terrified about what's going on. Of course, like for many of you, right now makes me think about the time in my fifth grade history class where I really learned what Nazi Germany was. And I learned about eugenics, and I learned about ethnic fear, and I learned about what kind of things would incite things like mass homicide, mass genocide. And the resounding memory I have is like, oh, people were just afraid of their own well-being, and then they killed a lot of other people, and somehow their well-being still wasn't insured. So what I feel right now is that there's a lot of, I mean, just to be so blatant, there's a lot of white Americans in my vicinity, and I live only lived in large cities along the coast. I've never lived in middle America. But I do feel that in my very vicinity that there are people who are afraid of my success, afraid of the success my parents have made in this country. They somehow feel that immigrants are taking over something that was theirs. And whether that is true or not, I'm really not interested in that discussion, because obviously I feel like, of course, America is not yours, but that's just my opinion. What I'm fearful of is how far they will go to protect what is theirs. And it makes me think about how far I will go to protect what is mine. And the end of that sounds like violence, but also I'm not an underestimator of the power of revolution, and not I'm not talking about necessarily violent revolution, although I'm not afraid of that term, violent revolution. Violence has been all throughout history, and why should we be immune to it? It's what happens when people are fighting for what they think is their lives and their livelihood and their supremacy. Um, I just feel that this is a time where if you're afraid, if you are taking what's going on in your world very seriously, you have to use your powers. And whether that be art, whether that be your intelligence in economics, whether that be your intelligence in community building, whether that you're an educator, whatever, you need to access your power for real, and not in a way that's like, oh, so I want success, I want to be famous, but in a way that is just like, there's a thing that I can do to kind of help myself and help those around me not succumb to the violence that fear produces. Everything else is just ignorance and stupidity. Boycotting our president, you in a fucking la la land. He's our president. There are a lot of other presidents around the whole world that you should be way more scared of.